You're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar and happy Diwali to all of you. Coming up in the next hour. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi celebrates Diwali with soldiers on the frontier in the hill state of Himachal Pradesh. Expresses gratitude, calling the soldiers the perfect embodiment of bravery and resilience. Diwali is being celebrated across the world as a cross-cultural festival representing victory of light over darkness and good over evil. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu spells out Israel's mission in the conflict with Hamas. He says that Gaza will be demilitarized and there will be no longer a threat from the Gaza Strip to the state of Israel. And India are playing their last league match of the Cricket World Cup in Bengaluru against the Netherlands. The packed stadium is looking to see India blazing away to a 9th successive win. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Lepcha in Himachal Pradesh, where he spent Diwali, the festival of lights, with Indian soldiers. He has shared the moment that he spent with the brave security forces, and he said that this had been an experience filled with deep emotion and pride. Recounting his experience to celebrate Diwali, the Prime Minister said that there has not been a single Diwali in the last 30 to 35 years that he has not celebrated with army jawans.
मैंने कोई दिवाली ऐसी नहीं है जो आप सबके बीच जाकर के न मनाई हो। 30-35 साल हो गए जब पीएम नहीं था, सीएम नहीं था, तब भी एक गर्व से भरे भारत के संतान के नाते मैं दिवाली पर किसी न किसी बॉर्डर पर जरूर जाता था। मिठाइयों का दौर तब भी चलता था और मैस का खाना भी खाता था, और इस जगह का नाम भी तो शुगर पॉइंट है। आपके साथ थोड़ी सी मिठाई खाकर मेरी दीपावली भी और मधुर हो गई है।
Prime Minister touched upon the integration of high technology and important systems like the CDS and said that the Indian Army is continuously becoming more modern.
हमारी सेनाओं का, हमारे सुरक्षा बलों का मनोबल बढ़ा है। हमारी सेनाओं की, सुरक्षा बलों की ताकत बढ़ी है। हाईटेक टेक्नोलॉजी का इंटीग्रेशन हो या सीडीएस जैसी जरूरी व्यवस्था, भारत की सेना अब लगातार धीरे धीरे आधुनिकता की तरफ आगे बढ़ रही है। हां, टेक्नोलॉजी के इस बढ़ते प्रसार के बीच मैं आपको ये भी कहूंगा कि हमें टेक्नोलॉजी के इस्तेमाल में मानवीय सूझबूझ को हमेशा सर्वोपरि रखना है। हमें ये सुनिश्चित करना होगा कि टेक्नोलॉजी कभी मानवीय संवेदनाओं पर हावी ना हो।
And pointing towards the global expectations from India in the current world scenario, the Prime Minister reiterated the importance of a secure border, peace and stability in the country.
आज दुनिया में जिस तरह के हालात हैं, उसमें भारत से अपेक्षाएं लगातार बढ़ रही है। ऐसे अहम समय में ये बहुत जरूरी है कि भारत की सीमाएं सुरक्षित रहें, देश में शांति का वातावरण बना रहे और इसमें आपकी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। भारत तब तक सुरक्षित है जब तक इसकी सीमाओं पर हिमालय की तरह अटल और अड़ीग ये मेरे जांबाज साथी खड़े।
But Prime Minister Narendra Modi also conveyed greetings to people on the auspicious occasion of Diwali. He said, and I quote, "Wishing everyone a happy Diwali. May this special festival bring joy, prosperity and wonderful health to everyone's lives," the Prime Minister said on X. Urging everyone to spread joy to the poor and to the needy, the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, has extended Diwali greetings to fellow citizens living in India and abroad. Diwali, the festival of lights, is celebrated all across India and the world. It symbolizes the triumph of good over evil. DD India's Sujata Lochab reports.
India, the land of festivals, where the vibrant and celebratory spirit of the country is beautifully expressed through its diverse festivities. One such celebration is Diwali, also known as Deepavali, the festival of lights, colors and cuisine. Diwali is a lunar calendar-based event that occurs from mid-October to mid-November. Apart from Hindus, Diwali is also celebrated by Sikh and Jain communities. For some North Indian communities, Diwali signifies the beginning of New Year. It symbolizes the triumph of good over evil, with origins tracing back to Lord Ram's return to Ayodhya after defeating demon king Ravan. This day holds a special place for Ayodhya, one of the holy cities in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, as Lord Ram's birthplace. Entire nation is eagerly waiting for the completion of the magnificent Ram temple that is under construction there. Though people start preparing a month in advance, the actual festivities start from Dhanteras, a day when people purchase new things they believe will bring prosperity and good luck. Second day is called Naraka Chaturdashi, named so since it is celebrated on the 14th day of the lunar cycle. The third day, when the entire nation immerses in vibrant festivities, from making colorful rangolis to decorating homes with blinking lights and earthen lamps. The entire nation adorns a new look on the moonless night of Diwali. After Govardhan Puja on the fourth day, the 5-day festival culminates with Bhai Dooj, a celebration of sibling bonds. Diwali is now not limited to physical borders. With India's expatriate community, the festival is spreading the lights of India's cultural heritage across the globe.
And South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has extended Diwali greetings to the Indian community in South Africa as well.
Namaste. On behalf of the government and the people of South Africa, I offer my good wishes to the Hindu community as it celebrates Diwali, the festival of lights. As a nation of many cultures and faiths, we have a deep appreciation of the importance of Diwali to members of the Hindu faith. Diwali is a celebration of the triumph of light over darkness.
And the celebrations of the Festival of Lights, it's called Tihar in Nepal. It begins today. And devotees feed ravens, in fact, to appease the god of death. It is the second biggest festival for Hindus in Nepal after Dashain. So people take holy dips in the rivers and ponds at sunrise on this day. Traditional sweets also like chimti and lakkamari, barfi, peda, laddus, they are distributed during this festival, the festival of Tihar. Now, the dynamic festival of Diwali has cast its radiant spell on Dubai as well, igniting the spirit of the city's residents in jubilant festivities. Various communities have celebrated. They've come together to celebrate Diwali, exemplifying the rich tapestry of the diversity that characterizes Dubai. The palpable enthusiasm is evident as people exchange greetings and gifts, nurturing a sense of camaraderie throughout the city. And Australia's High Commissioner to India extended his Diwali greetings to everyone.
Ab sabko Diwali ki shubhkamnayein. On behalf of all of us here at the High Commission, to all of you, to your families, to your communities, to your neighbourhoods, we wish you the most joyous, happy and prosperous Festival of Lights.
The Ambassador of Japan to India, Hiroshi Suzuki, also extended Diwali greetings to everyone from him and his wife.
Happy Diwali!
Let's now take a look at other stories that are related to the Festival of Lights. The Indian state of Odisha has saw different types of sweets and delicacies being prepared at Bhubaneswar in the markets there on the occasion of Diwali. People are buying these sweets with their families for the Festival of Lights. The Indian Army personnel celebrated Diwali with the local people near the line of control in the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The locals lit up earthen lamps with army soldiers and shared sweets on the festival. And on the occasion of Diwali, a two-day Rangoli Carnival started also in Rajkot. And in India's Rajkot, more than 500 artists have made different Rangolis. The entire Rajkot city gathered to see this Rangoli Carnival, which was organized at the racecourse ring road of Rajkot. This view of Rajkot is worth seeing. On the festival of Diwali, the entire community of the city came forward on the racecourse ring road. Rangoli Carnival went on for 2 days at the racecourse ring road of Rajkot. More than 500 Rangoli artists from Rajkot came to showcase their art. And Ayodhya city in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh made world record by lighting more than 2.2 million earthen lamps on the banks of the Saryu River. This is during the 7th edition of the Deep Utsav. Happened yesterday. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. The Israeli military says that they're going to help evacuate babies from a Gaza hospital. London police arrest over 100 people as counter-protesters target pro-Palestinian demonstrations. And Russia says it has shot down several Ukrainian fighter jets.
to Jaipur.
You're watching DD India News Hour. My name is Mark Lin. Updates now from the Israel-Hamas conflict, and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that the conflict will continue until Hamas is defeated.
We won't stop until the mission is completed. The war against Hamas, ISIS, is progressing in full swing and has one goal, which is to win. Army forces have completed the encircling of the Gaza Strip. They are working now inside the city, outskirts of Al-Shifa hospital. They killed 2,000 terrorists, including senior commanders, who were among those who led this terrible massacre on the Saturday, the 7th of October.
As for what's going to happen after the conflict, Netanyahu says that Gaza will be demilitarized.
As for the talk about the day after this day, will only be after the elimination of Hamas. Gaza will be demilitarized and there will no longer be a threat from the Gaza Strip to the state of Israel. And to ensure there won't be such threat as long as it's needed, IDF will control Gaza Strip security to prevent terror within.
The chief of the Israeli military, the spokesperson, in fact, the chief spokesperson of the Israeli military, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said on Saturday that the Israeli military will help evacuate babies, which are the babies who are trapped in Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital.
The hospital is open on El Wadi Street for the safe pass of Gazans who wish to leave the hospital. We're speaking directly and regularly with the hospital staff. The staff of the Shifa hospital has requested that tomorrow we will help the babies in the pediatric department to get to a safer hospital. We will provide the assistance needed.
While IDF assures that they will help in the safe evacuation of the babies, Israeli officials have refused claims that they are firing on Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza.
In the last few hours, I hear on the news that there is a siege and that there are strikes on the Shifa hospital. I want to say clearly, this is a lie. There are clashes between IDF troops and Hamas terrorist operatives around the hospital. There is no shooting at the hospital and there is no siege. The east side of the hospital remains open. Al-Wahda Street is open. Even now, anyone can leave if they want to.
Saudi Arabia hosted an Arab Islamic summit in Riyadh, and the leaders from 57 Muslim countries were present. They called for an end to the war in Gaza. Leaders also questioned the integrity of the UN Security Council and the international community for their failure to prevent the conflict, and also raised the demand for the immediate cessation of military operations in Gaza.
Saudi Arabia on Saturday hosted an extraordinary summit of Islamic and Arab leaders and discussed the worsening situation in Gaza. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and dozen other leaders attended the summit. They called for a halt to forced displacement of Palestinians. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad Al Thani, and Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, who was welcomed back in the Arab League earlier this year, also attended the summit. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron has called for a ceasefire. After Macron's statement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded, saying world leaders should be condemning Hamas and not Israel. He said, "These crimes that Hamas is committing today in Gaza will be committed tomorrow in Paris, New York, and anywhere in the world." Israeli army video showed ground and air strikes on Hamas targets in central city of Gaza. Multiple blasts light up Gaza sky overnight into Saturday as huge plumes of smoke rose from buildings near the border with Israel. Fighting has intensified near Gaza City's overcrowded hospitals, which Palestinian officials said were hit by explosions and gunfire. Bureau reports, DD India.
Ala Miqdad Gazan is a clown by profession who entertained displaced children outside the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza city. Fleeing the deadly attacks in Gaza, he looks on with hope to smile through the pain. On Saturday, thousands of protesters rallied in Tel Aviv, calling for the release of hostages. Among the protesters gathered outside of Israel's defense ministry were families, friends and supporters of the hostages. Some held pictures of hostages while yelling "Now" in Hebrew. Tel Aviv's Palace of Culture in the city's central Habima Square was also lit up to display a message of support for hostages and their families. The words "Bring them home" could be seen glowing on the Palace of Culture just in front of an art installation featuring over 200 empty beds, symbolizing the absent hostages. And London police have arrested dozens of people as counter-protesters targeted pro-Palestinian demonstrations in the British capital. The pro-Palestinian demonstrators called for a ceasefire in Gaza, but the march was criticized as disrespectful by the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak because it took place on Armistice Day, when Britain remembers its war dead. Ollie Barrett reports from London.
A huge policing operation underway in London throughout the course of this whole weekend. That's because it's Remembrance Weekend here in the UK, when Britain remembers its war dead. And indeed, the march taking place on Saturday, the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak had called disrespectful for that very reason. The protesters have made sure that they have come in this direction on their march, staying away from the cenotaph, which is the war memorial in the centre of London that is a focus of this weekend's remembrance events. And the organisers of this march have always said that they would not try and disrupt any kind of remembrance events over the weekend. But it's been very controversial for that reason. The government has been very much in a row with the police about exactly how to police this demonstration and counter-protests and counter-demonstrations. Indeed, dozens of arrests have been made by police. There have been nearly 2,000 police officers on duty on Saturday. There will be well over 1,000 police officers on duty again on Sunday, as officers deal with what they said was likely to be a very difficult weekend, trying to keep various different protests apart, trying as much as possible to avoid disorder. And Rishi Sunak, as I say, the UK Prime Minister, insisting that this march was wrong to even take place in the first place. Ollie Barrett in London, reporting for DD India.
Let's now get you the latest updates on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And Russia has said that it's shot down several Ukrainian fighter jets, including a MiG-29, while Ukraine said that it had launched multiple attacks on the Russian troops and weapons, including air defense facilities. The Russian military said that its forces struck Ukrainian troops and destroyed its weapons and equipment, including tanks, armored vehicles, and American-made howitzers. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian armed forces said that their forces had engaged in 71 battles with Russia on the front line in the last 24 hours. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz's governing coalition has agreed to double German military aid to Ukraine next year to $8.54 billion. Now, if approved by the parliament in Berlin, where Scholz's parties hold a majority, the boost would lift Germany's defense spending beyond the 2% of gross domestic product target, which was pledged by all North Atlantic Treaty Organization members. Lawmakers of Scholz's Social Democrats, the Free Democrats, and the Green Party have agreed on the increase in negotiations over the proposed 2024 federal budget this week. The International Media Center for the 30th Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Leaders Meeting, that's APEC, it has officially opened to journalists in San Francisco in the United States. So the Media Center will be generating all the latest APEC summit news, for which more than 2,000 credentials have been issued to media outlets from around the world. The 30th APEC meeting, which will be held from the 11th of November till the 17th of November, will gather world leaders as well, dignitaries and visitors to discuss global issues, including digital trade, climate change, and environmental sustainability. Well, the Paris Peace Forum wrapped up on Saturday in the French capital. The two-day event brought together political and business leaders. They talked about finding common solutions to tackle global challenges. The theme for the forum was seeking common ground in a world of rivalry. Rebecca Bundan reports from Paris.
The idea of the Paris Peace Forum is to promote good governance, and it brought together political leaders, business leaders and international organisations to discuss some of the biggest problems that the world is facing at the moment and try to come up with some possible solutions. So topics that were on the agenda included peace and security, climate change was a really big theme this year, also the rise of technology and the risks associated with that, including artificial intelligence, and issues such as poverty and inequality. Climate change was really a major area of focus, though, and we heard President Emmanuel Macron talking about a need for unity to tackle rising carbon emissions, and also talking about the unprecedented challenge that's posed by melting glaciers. And there were also panel discussions that took place on this matter, where speakers talked about the fact that developed nations had promised a certain amount of help to developing countries to help them adapt to climate change, and this hadn't necessarily been delivered on, including finance, for example. Of course, this conference comes at a time when there is a lot of conflict globally. We've got Russia's war in Ukraine and now the Israel-Hamas war, and that's a really big concern for a conference like this as well, because it means that the international unity that's needed to address many of the global problems that were actually talked about becomes very, very difficult. Rebecca Bundan in Paris, reporting for DD India.
And still to come here on DD India News Hour. Protesters clash with the police in Madrid. The US Speaker Johnson says the GOP has a stopgap in place to prevent a shutdown. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Let's get you a recap of our top stories. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi celebrates Diwali with soldiers on the frontier in the hill state of Himachal Pradesh. He expresses gratitude, calling them the perfect embodiment of bravery and resilience. Diwali is being celebrated across the world as a cross-cultural festival representing the victory of light over darkness and good over evil. And India is playing their last league match in the Cricket World Cup. This is against the Netherlands in Bengaluru. A packed stadium is looking to see India blazing away to a 9th successive win. Well, Indian soldiers of the 76th Battalion of the Central Reserve Police Force celebrated Diwali in the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The soldiers offered prayers to Lord Ram and also distributed sweets on the occasion. The Indian Cultural Association, in collaboration with the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Centre in Sri Lanka, organized Diwali celebrations at the Hotel Taj Samudra in Colombo. And this event witnessed cultural performances that enthralled the audience. In addition, an animation on the relevance of Diwali and the Ramayana was also displayed. And the U.S. Embassy in New Delhi celebrated the Festival of Lights with enthusiasm and vigor. In a video shared by the U.S. Embassy on the social media platform X, the U.S. Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti, said that he was seen celebrating Diwali with his colleagues, and he said that he was delighted to celebrate the Festival of Lights for the first time in India.
Thank you to the entire U.S. Embassy community here in New Delhi. You make life full of light every single day. We can't wait to celebrate, to bring the light in through singing, through dancing. We'll see you at the show.
Well, Diwali celebrations are underway in New York City, and crowds have been treated to a special show featuring dancing, henna painting, as well as art workshops. DD India's correspondent William Denslow reports from New York.
Getting into the festival swing. Pier 57 on the Manhattan waterfront has been temporarily transformed for a Diwali celebration.
I didn't realize that there is a Diwali celebration like over here, so we just get to feel a little bit like home over here.
Performances, the fireworks, the dance, and the decorations look amazing.
I got some henna. I don't know, just I came as a tourist.
Rangoli making also featured to help draw in the crowds. This art form plays a significant role on Diwali, marking Lord Ram's return from exile.
They lit up the whole kingdom with the diyas or the lamps, the oil lamps that we call them, and they made these intricate patterns with color and everything to make him feel welcome home after 14 years of being away from his kingdom.
And at this celebration, everyone is welcome too. More than 200,000 New Yorkers are believed to celebrate Diwali. But this event also hopes to enlighten those that may be in the dark when it comes to the significance of the Festival of Lights. This is one of a number of events taking place across New York to mark Diwali.
You want to be represented, but you want to share that. You don't want that in a bubble or in a silo where it's just so isolated, especially when it's such an inclusive and warm culture. So I think it helps people to understand more about who we are, where we come from, what we celebrate, and to be a part of it.
Organisers here hope their efforts will have made a lasting impression on those that have come to get a taste of the Festival of Lights. William Denslow in New York reporting for DD India.
And Diwali fervour is going global. In the UK, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, hosted a reception on Diwali festival at Downing Street. Everywhere, elsewhere in fact, in the country, there are hundreds of events taking place. DD India were invited along with, they were invited to the Diwali celebrations at the University of Bristol, which is home to hundreds of Indian students. John Beaver reports.
They may be 7,000 kilometres from home, but for hundreds of Indian students, Diwali is a chance to celebrate their shared culture. This event has grown significantly in recent years and is one of many organised by the University of Bristol's Indian Society.
It's not just Diwali, but it's every Indian festival here. The thing is, when you're in India, you don't know the importance of your culture, but when you travel so far, you get to know how important it is to stick to your roots and remember the good memories. You start missing your family, and this is one way to create a family here.
For some here, this is less a taste of home and more a chance to learn about the culture and traditions of an increasingly sizable student group.
It's wonderful to have more and more Indian students now say they're the biggest group of overseas students to the UK now. They've just overtaken China. And many want to stay and work here, which is wonderful because that then enriches our work communities, enriches our workplaces.
Like all good Diwali celebrations, food played an important part, as well as other traditional activities.
From the Prime Minister downwards, Diwali celebrations are taking place across the UK. And with almost 2 million people here who say they're of Indian heritage, it's no surprise that there are so many celebrations.
The University of Bristol has a well-respected Bollywood dance society, and what better time to perform than at the Diwali celebrations.
You not only connect with people who are from home with you, but it's like people that want to learn about you. And I never feel bad telling someone about my culture, telling someone where I'm from.
I find a sense of community here, and it's always nice to just be a part of stuff because it feels like home.
The celebration of this ancient tradition ended in a more modern way, as the latest generation of Indians in the UK came together to mark Diwali and make new friends a long way from home. John Beaver in Bristol, reporting for DD India.
Well, the British High Commissioner to India, Alex Ellis, also wished a happy Diwali to Indians. He did so in Hindi and then also gave a message. Let's listen.
Namaste. आप सबको ब्रिटिश हाई कमीशन की तरफ से Diwali की शुभकामनाएं. Diwali is a truly global event, celebrated in India, celebrated across the world, including in Downing Street and across the United Kingdom. That's why I would like to say, आपको आपके परिवार की दिवाली सुरक्षित, समृद्ध और खुशहाल रहें.
Well, air pollution has emerged as one of the biggest environmental health risks of our times, and according to the UN, air pollution kills at least 7 million people every year globally. Our program Changemakers this week, it showcases innovators who are providing unique solutions to the challenge of air pollution.
Pollution is one of the most pressing environmental and public challenges of our time. It is, you can call it an invisible enemy that affects the health of not just few hundreds, but few billions, and the vitality of ecosystems, the economy of nations, and so on. At AMBI, we believe that the fight against air pollution begins with reliable data. If you can't measure it, you cannot solve it. So our innovations are designed to provide real-time, actionable insights into air quality. We leverage all the latest, greatest technology. We have proprietary data from proprietary sensors, advanced algorithms. We're not just keeping up with the challenge, but we're also working a lot harder to stay ahead of it.
Ours is a primarily nature-based technology-focused work wherein we are identifying technologies which have been inspired by the natural phenomena that occurs in the nature. So one of our core technology, we call it breathing roots technology, essentially improves the breathability of natural plant so that there is a greater air purification happening from a simple normal plant as well. So for example, one of our products can magnify the cleaning capability of a normal indoor plant by almost 500 times.
Well, you can watch the brand new episode of Changemakers on Sunday, the 12th of November at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time and also at 2:30 p.m. GMT. The Indian economy is a crucial engine of global growth. A number of global rating agencies have recognized India's inherent economic strengths. S&P Global Ratings, Barclays have also praised India's track record. The country's foreign exchange reserves surged to $590.783 billion US dollars, up by about $4.672 billion US dollars for the week ended the 3rd of November. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi's call of vocal for local is hugely popular among citizens.
India, the world's fifth largest economy, is becoming an increasingly crucial engine of global growth. The Indian economy continues to show strong resilience to external shocks. Policy post-COVID has prioritized macro stability over growth by shoring up external buffers, managing the fiscal position while keeping growth close to trend. Reserve Bank of India said that India's forex reserve surged by $4.672 billion US dollars to $590.783 billion US dollars for the week ended the 3rd November. This increase took it to a 7-week high mark. Apex Bank said that foreign currency assets rose by $4.392 billion US dollars. The overall value of the gold held was up by $200 million at $46.123 billion US dollars. While global rating agencies too are recognizing India's potential for growth, S&P Global Ratings on Wednesday said India's economy has a track record of strong growth and retained its 6% growth forecast for current fiscal. S&P Global Ratings said that India's economy has a track record of a strong growth. We expect this momentum to continue and forecast growth of 6% for financial year 2024 and then 6.9% for financial year 2025 and 2026. While Barclays in its report says that India has emerged with enhanced macro stability in the past few years, especially considering the constant emergence of global crisis. Despite multiple supply shocks, Indian economy is projected to be the fastest growing major economy in the next 5 years, growing around 6 to 6.5% in base case. If growth is raised closer to 8% in the next 5 years, India would be in a position to become the biggest contributor to global growth, dramatically closing the gap with China. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Vocal for Local initiative is gaining huge support from all walks of life as prominent figures from India Inc., Bollywood and social media influencers rally in support of the campaign. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, the executive chairperson of biopharmaceuticals enterprise Biocon Limited, hailed Prime Minister Modi's efforts urging citizens to be vocal for local. She says, "Love the Vocal for Local mission and the creativity coming along with it. Kudos to Prime Minister Modi and may Goddess Lakshmi shower her blessings on Indian entrepreneurs and businesses this Diwali." While Indian actor Jackie Shroff called for spreading happiness this Diwali by buying local products, he said that when we buy one local product, we spread happiness among so many of our own people who have been part of its journey. A beautiful initiative by our Prime Minister. This Diwali, let's pledge to go vocal for local. While actor Boman Irani says that Diwali is an occasion of joy, Irani adds that Modi government has brightened up lives of crores of our citizens and spread joy with its various schemes. The Vocal for Local campaign urges Indians to support indigenous products, fostering economic growth and self-reliance. The initiative encourages citizens to prioritize and promote locally made goods, empowering domestic industries. Fuzail Ahmed reporting for DD India.
Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A makeshift camp in the eastern San Diego Desert in the United States is witnessing an influx of migrants crossing into the U.S. from Mexico. The migrant crossing through the border wall in Jacumba Hot Springs. They are doing that. and that's in California. They were processed by the Border Patrol officials, and more than 204,000 migrants have been picked up by the border officials in 11 months through August. Around 200 town officials and troops participated in mock tsunami evacuations conducted by Japan's self-defense forces in the country's westernmost island, Yonaguni, near Taiwan, in a measure to prepare residents for natural disasters as well as any future Taiwan emergency. An albino puma has become the center of attraction at the Thomas Belt Zoo in Nicaragua's Jaigalpa. The almost 4-month-old puma has been named Itze. It means it's Mayan for a gift from God. And Itze weighs more than 6 kilos and is in good health. The albino is a genetic condition. It's characterized by a lack of the protective pigment melanin in the hair, skin and eyes. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. Kabaddi is catching on in Tanzania. And thousands of German revelers kick off carnival season in Cologne. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn, and now let's give you some sports news. The Cricket World Cup, and India is currently playing against the Netherlands at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru. This is the last league match, and Shreyas Iyer has brought up his half-century. He hit it off 48 balls. He's getting some good support from KL Rahul. The two of them are at the crease, keeping the scoreboard going. This is 3 down, India currently. Earlier, the trio of Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli all smashed half-centuries. And on the other hand, the Netherlands are eyeing some crucial breakthroughs. Indian skipper Rohit Sharma won the toss. He opted to bat first. The hosts came into this match with an unchanged playing 11. India have already confirmed the semi-final spot, and they are going to be playing New Zealand in a knockout match in Mumbai next week. And for the Dutch side, it is their last match of the campaign. The Scott Edwards-led side defeated South Africa and Bangladesh in the league stage, but they haven't fared well against the other teams. Well, Anil Thomas is at the match, and he's joining us from outside the stadium in Bengaluru. Anil, it's just about getting to what that, we used to call the slog overs back in the day, the 40 to 50 overs. And it's Diwali time, and people should be expecting fireworks, but you're outside, so you're missing it.
Good evening, Mark. Happy Diwali to you and to all the viewers of DD India and DD News. Well, surely the last 10 overs, India expected to go strong. And if you see on a Diwali day, top Indian 4 batters have all contributed with half centuries with their bat. Neither have gone on to score 100, but 4 half centuries, a rare kind of a feature that you see, especially in World Cup fixtures. For the first time in this particular World Cup, all 4 top batters scoring half centuries for their country. And that's not all. Virat Kohli hitting a 7th half century in this particular World Cup surely is good news, not only for Indian fans but also fans for Bengaluru, because he's their local boy and they expected him to come good. But you should have seen the roar that he got for 50. It would have been too difficult to comprehend. how celebrations would have erupted if he had scored 100. But purely a good performance there by the batting side. India has got another batting practice. Rahul Dravid in no mood to experiment. He's focused, he's narrowed down his team for the knockouts.
Yes.
And I think he's going ahead and the team living up to the expectations that coach has from them.
And cricket being a religion in India, and of course Diwali is a festival, and there must be a festive atmosphere in the stadium. Give us a sense of what's happening out there. It looked packed, even though it's an inconsequential match.
See, it's an inconsequential match for the table or for the points, but from a fan's perspective, any time that India is on the cricketing field, it's worth a must-watch game. And cricket lovers in Bangalore, they understand the game well. They are keen followers of the game, understand the game, and also admire the opposition when they come up with good performances. We've seen good performances on this particular track at the Chinnaswamy. Big scores being scored. It's a Pata wicket, a batsman's paradise, a bowler's nightmare. The bowlers need to bend their backs to get some purchase from this particular wicket. And I think the batsmen have done justice to the track that's been provided to them. But all in all, I would say it's been a journey that India has started off. 9 venues that we have crossed, reaching this particular position. And I think it's another 2 points that you could very easily see being added to India's tally. But the way Indians have gone about performing in this particular World Cup, that's something worth admiring for, and that's something worth learning for, because this particular match on a Diwali day happened. I remember the 1987 World Cup when India took on Australia on the Diwali day. So it's a rare kind of occasion on a celebration day in India. You see cricket team performing, and that makes the celebration even more sweeter.
You're a one for history, I can see, but the 1996 World Cup quarterfinal was played in Bengaluru, and it's one of the greatest matches of all times. And the local boy Venkatesh Prasad, also got that important breakthrough. It is a stadium that has a lot of history, one can say. Fill us in with a little bit of the history of the occasion.
Well, you did rightly mention the 1996 quarterfinals, India taking on Pakistan. Wasim Akram not playing, and then Ajay Jadeja's final burst in the last 5 overs, which helped India reach 287, and from there on, and then that big fight that Amir Sohail had with the local boy Venkatesh Prasad after hitting him a boundary, showing him the bat, that's where I'm going to hit you the next one. And Venkatesh coming with a slow leg cutter where he uprooted Amir Sohail's off stump. So clearly memories great from this ground. And if you see, even in this particular World Cup, we've seen 4 matches being played on this particular track, 2 being won by the side batting first, 2 being won by the side batting or rather chasing. And also good scores that we have seen on this particular track, 300s. You saw that 400 that New Zealand managed to put on this particular track against Pakistan. Then Pakistan batsman Fakhar Zaman deciding to come to the party and having a big score, a big 100 on this track. So this particular track, even from this particular World Cup perspective, has been good. It's always been a good hunting ground for Team India. And India looks to gather the 2 points and go with no injury worries into the semi-finals at the Wankhede.
We leave it there. Thank you very much, Anil Thomas, for joining us from Bengaluru. Now, a decade ago, Kabaddi was virtually unknown in Tanzania, but the sport is now getting some unprecedented support. It's growing there. Established with the support of the Indian Embassy, the nation's Kabaddi Association is working hard to make the sport grow, and it is growing. It's bearing fruit. Isaac Lucando reports.
A weekly practice session for members of the Buffalo Kabaddi Club in Dar es Salaam. The club is one of several in the country that are spearheading the growth of the game of Kabaddi.
In 2013, when we started, the game's reception was very poor. We mostly used players from other sports, since I also teach assorted games. But as days go on, the situation has improved. We now have a large program. All the national team players, for example, come from our school program.
In 2021, Tanzania hosted the Africa Kabaddi Championship tournament for the first time, where the national team were runners-up behind winners Egypt. Zuena Hassan, who took part in the women's team, says the main challenge to the game's growth is competition from mainstream sports.
Kabaddi is not like football. Football has a lot of aspects to it, while Kabaddi is not as complicated.
With sponsors investing and good players like us representing the country, we can go far through Kabaddi.
The growth of Kabaddi in Tanzania lends itself to support from the Indian government, which now includes the services of 2 coaches who are currently helping to train players. So far, 2 players from Tanzania have already featured in the Indo-International Premier Kabaddi League. Compared to other games, Kabaddi doesn't require a lot of resources to play. For instance, in terms of space, a 10 by 13 meter ground suffices, which means it can be played almost anywhere. This and a host of other factors have convinced the leadership of the Tanzanian Kabaddi Association that the game could scale up its presence in the country. Coaches from India say apart from a language barrier, they seem to be making progress in the country.
We are going for training for coaches and officials, as well as we are doing training for players also. So in all aspects we are trying to do the work so that in future they can come up as a good team.
The Tanzanian Kabaddi Association has lofty dreams of becoming African champions and possibly dominating at the global competition in India next year. But for now, the country's players continue to train, hoping that one day Kabaddi will take a seat among mainstream sports in Tanzania. Isaac Lukando in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
Well, the carnival season was kicked off in the stronghold of Cologne in Germany. Thousands of German revelers participated in this event. It's for people who like numbers. The event is traditionally celebrated on the 11th day of the 11th month at 11:11 a.m. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on Facebook, on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar and a happy Diwali.